Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are, and welcome back to another of my video. Before I start, I want to say a very big thank you to all of my subscribers. I want to say thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, for believing in me, and for subscribing to this channel. Actually, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, comment, and don't forget to give it a like or a thumbs up. So today I'm actually going to be drafting a simple pencil skirt for you. This illustration actually is for beginners. It's very simple. As somebody that is sewing, you should be able to make a simple skirt for yourself. So this is just the basic. This is like the basic for sewing a simple pencil skirt. So I'm going to be using pattern paper. So I folded them into two. As you can see, this is the back and this is the front. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be drafting them here. And the measurement that I'm actually going to be using today is the length of the skirt, the hip of the skirt, and then the waist of the skirt. These are the three basic measurements in drafting out a skirt, a pencil skirt. So now I'm going to be inserting my measurement into this pattern. First, in order for you as a beginner that starts sewing, you ask yourself one question: how do I know how to fold? You fold your fabric. The fold of your fabric depends on the biggest measurements. And for this illustration, the biggest part of the measurement is the hip, which is 38. So when you divide 38 into 4, you are going to have 9. When you have 9, you can add 3 inches to it, or 4 inches, as the case may be. So that will now help you to determine how to fold. So like if you have 9 inches, after dividing 38 into 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, you can make your fabric, you can fold your fabric to be like 13 or 14. But for this, I'm not going to be doing it. So since this is just a draft, so I begin by folding into 2. Like I told you, the hip, the length, the first thing I'm going to be checking out is the length of this skirt. So I'll place my tape like this. I'll leave half an inch up on top, that is what I'm going to be using as the seam allowance. So I'll be starting from here. So I'll not, like, this is the waist measurement, then this is the full length of the measurement, 22 inches. I'll add 2 inches for my allowance. Then before I go on in drafting out a simple skirt, there are some basic patterns, basic rules. So the basic measurement is I'll use 6 inches. So this 6 inches, why I'm using 6 inches for beginners is I have 6 inches here, and then I have 10 inches. This is between 6 and 10. Let me rule it out first, then I'll come back and explain to you. So this top line, this is like the waist. We'll use W as the waist. Then in between 6, like I said, this place I use 6. This is 6 inches and this is 9 inches. Why is it like this? This will help you to determine where to insert your hip measurement. So the hip measurement is going to be inserted in between here. So this is the hip, as in this middle. Now this is the hip. The hip measurement, we're going to be inserting it into this part, because for most beginners, the problem they always have is most times when they make something like this, at the end of the day, maybe the hip will be up or it might be down. When you wear the skirt, you find out that it will not be equal. But if you go with this by measuring 6 inches from the waist and then 10 inches, you can never go wrong with it. Once you insert your hip measurement into this part, it's going to be perfect. So now most times you can use 19 inches as the nail, but since it's a short skirt, So it will just go, it will just come like this and then bring it down. Okay, you can still put the 19 inches so you know where to start your bend from. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is inserting our measurements into the skirt. It is simple and easy, and in a few minutes you are done. So the first thing is the waist measurement. The waist measurement is 30. For beginners, 30, you're going to divide 30 into 4. And when you divide 30 into 4, you're going to have 7.5. So you take your tape like this, and then you place it here. This is the back, so just ignore this. I'm using 2 inches. You can see we can use 1.5 inch as your zip allowance for the back one. So you just leave it like this. So let's continue. I say 7.5. When you divide 30 into 4, you have 7.5. I'll just mark it like this, and then add 1.5 inch as my allowance to it like this. So this is like my allowance. This is 7.5. This is the allowance. Then for the hip measurement, like I told you initially, I said the hip is 38. So when you divide 38 into 4, you have 9 inches. So you take your tape like this and then place in this middle. This is the 9 inches. For the hip part, this is the 9 inches. For the hip part, I'll add 2 inches as my allowance. So I'll just mark it like this. So the next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be connecting this line to this line. Like I told you, I say it's very simple and very easy. You can make use of your curve. If you don't have a curve, you can, if you don't have a curve, for beginners that don't have a curve, you can just come like this. You just take the rule like this and just bring it like this, as you can see. You can just bring it like this. So for this down part, which is the knee part, which is that I measured 19, most times I always tell people, if you want to make a really good pencil skirt, always make sure you measure the knee, because if you don't measure the knee, the down might be too big, and if it's big, the fitting will not come out. Always measure the knee by telling the person to take a step forward. So for this, the knee I'm going to be using for this illustration, I'm going to be making use of 37, which is 8.5. So I'll just mark it like this, and then use 1.5 inch as my allowance. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be bringing my hip measurement to this part. So I'll just bring it like this, continue with my curve like this, and then take it down. So as you can see, this is just this, it's very simple pencil skirt. This is it. Like I told you initially, let me go through it again for you to know. This is the waist measurement. You divide your measurement into 4. This is your this is your hip measurement. You divide your hip and insert it in between 6. This was 6. This was 6 inches, and this is 9 inch. This is 10 inches. So you insert your hip measurement in between here, and then this is your knee measurement. This is your knee measurement, and then this is the full length. And for your dart, because of the 2 inch allowance that you put, that the 1.5 inch for the top, that is the waist part, you can decide to, when I'm done, let me cut it out first. So I'll just take my tape like this. Sorry, I'll take my scissors like this. Very simple and easy. So this is it. This is the back, this is the front. You can see the shape of the skirt is already out, clean and neat. So for the dart measurement, I'm going to be using 7 inches for my dart, which is 3.5, which is here. I'll just do a normal straight dart. When I'm done, I'll just put a notch here. I'll put a notch here like this. And before then, for the dart, you can just take your tape like this and then measure 4" here. In between, I'm going to be darting my dart. I will dart. You can decide to dart at 4. You can decide. Sorry, you can decide to dart at 4. You can decide to dart at 5 inches. So this is 5 inches. The middle of 5 inches, which is 2.5. So I'll just take my dart from this 1 inch like this. This is the simple pencil skirt, as you can see. See, the shape is here. This is the front, and then this is the back. You can see this is the front, and then this is the back. So your dart is just going to be here like this. You just run through your dart here and then run through. So it depends on how long you want your dart to be. It's very simple and very easy. You can see this is it. This is it. Very simple. So in less than 10 minutes, you should be done with your basic pencil skirt. So I've come to the end of this illustration. So like I said initially, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel, like my video and comment on this video, and tell me if you are having any difficulty in your sewing. Tell me and I'll be glad to help you. So thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. See you in my next video.